be starting soon. Let's look over to our video preview. Oh, okay, it seems as if the stream has started. Alright guys, so thank you all so much for tuning in to another live edition of Matt Rants. Today we're talking about a bunch of different news, a lot of stuff that I want to talk about for a little over a week now, but I've been super sick, so I've essentially been bedridden, but thankfully I'm up and at 'em, doing a-okay. Now we can talk about some very fun stuff, some stuff that's breaking, at least as if this recording is breaking, and some other stuff that's not so breaking. So, let me put on my glasses over here, and let's take a look at the list of topics. So, we have another Soulja Boy handheld. That's right, I told you guys last time when I talked about Soulja Boy, I'm not going to say any more. This will be the last news article about Soulja Boy, because he's still doing more. He's still doing more. A Dev Saturn found at a Japanese store. We'll be talking about that as well. GameStop with Kingdom Hearts PS4 Pro controversy. Also, speaking of GameStop not being bought out apparently, and also Piranha Plant causing some save data corruption. I'll tell you where a little bit later. And also a mini Switch is seemingly actually happening. We're always talking about either a mini Switch or a Pro Switch, a larger one, and it seems like a mini Switch is actually happening. There's some credence behind it, and potentially the PS5 being backwards compatible, which sounds very interesting, especially for me. That would actually be a system seller for me personally. So let's jump right into our first story. Actually, no, before we do, I want to post some of the links for the first story. By the way, will be Soulja Boy's handheld, and let me actually post some of this stuff down below. Yes, this is real. I cannot believe that this is real. I can't believe he's still going, because there's another facet to this story that I'll talk about in a second. Let's see. One Soulja Boy link, two Soulja Boy links, and then I think there's a third one as well. Yes, okay, so we have three Soulja Boy links. Alright, copy paste that now. And if you're watching this through a YouTube channel, those guys play, all of the links will be in the description box down below. Okay, so let's begin this one in 3, 2, 1. So moving on to our first story. Soulja Boy is at it again. I thought that Soulja Boy, here's the thing guys, so Soulja Boy's website, his first website, which was Soulja Watch, was shut down. And if you go to it right now, it actually redirects you to Nintendo's website. So I had thought that Soulja Boy was done doing all this stuff. I was like, all right, good. He stopped it. He's realized that he can't, do stuff like this. And it was, it was a long story that we talked about. We waited at first talking about it because we thought everyone else was on it. And then he just kept on going and going and going. And I was like, no, I can't just not talk about this. But now apparently he's launched a website called SouljaElectronics.com. And on it he has the mini Soulja game. The mini Soulja game. How crazy is that? Nintendo's coming out with a mini Switch potentially, and now we have a mini Soulja game. Now, if you're wondering what features this thing actually comes with, well, it comes with plenty of features. So let me actually turn on the, okay, that's Soulja Boy right over there. And let's look at these amazing features. It has double glass, whatever the hell that means. It can effectively resist radiation. Well, I mean, for anyone who's been looking at Fallout 76 and felt irradiated, I wonder if Fallout 76 is coming to this system. And it can protect children's glasses from harm. Their glasses. Not their eyes. No. This thing goes one step further. The glasses from harm. Also, it is food grade ABS material. BS material, I think, would be more applicable. It is non-toxic and harmless, safe and healthy. So I love the word healthy, simply due to the fact that we have to sit back and for a second just realize that these are healthy to eat. So I could eat these, and they look lovely, by the way. And I could actually, I could gain some type of health benefits from this. And by the way, if you were thinking, well, I guess maybe, he's selling these weird kind of Fisher Price looking consoles, these you know, these mini consoles with no games, even though there are games in the pictures for the actual product. You might be thinking, well, but again, like, he clearly learned his lesson. No, 688 in one handheld game consoles. So there are 688 games allegedly built into this. And I say alleged, but it's on the actual website itself, so I don't know. And also it's powered by 3 AAA batteries. If you thought these couldn't get any worse, they are actually extremely cheap. They're $28. I'm wondering if he's just trying to make a quick buck at this point. And it's a 2.5-inch HD screen. The colors are orange, bluish, lightish bluish, and then greenish. And on each one, it's hilarious looking at the pictures that are on it. The orange one has a One Piece picture, One Piece, the anime. And then the blue one has Super Mario, of course. And then the third one, it's really hard to see what game that is. Is that Contra, perhaps? Maybe some ROM hack of some type. You guys can tell me down below if you're taking a look at this. Yeah, so if you want to buy one of these for some odd reason, I don't know where else you could get this. I assume AliExpress, because all the other ones were drop shipped from AliExpress. But yeah, no, this is still happening. This is fucking hilarious. You would think that... Here's the thing, too, by the way. If you're someone who's just like, hey, man, respect his hustle, I don't care, he's been doing a great job, yada, yada. Why has everything been removed and now we've gotten to the point where... You know, let me check other parts of the site just to make sure. Yeah, no, there are no other game consoles other than this $28 one. Why did they all sell out and he's just moving on to the next product? Why is it $28 now and not the hundreds of dollars that he had before? Granted, this does look like a $28 system, to be fair. But yeah, no, this is a failure. This is really bad. I don't know if Fortnite's going to be on it, but it's pretty bad. I'll just say that much. And again, if you guys are wondering, you know, I know maybe some of you guys new to the channel, new to the podcast, why are we even talking about this? It's because here's the thing, right? So I totally get why you're talking about this. If, hey, this is illegal, or hey, why do you care? You know, respect his hustle, etc., etc. But here's the thing: if he had just created a brand new console and didn't have any games on there, I really wouldn't care. In fact, I'd be like, hey, good for him. You know, even if it looks like this, whatever. What are you gonna do, right? But the fact that he is someone who has a lot of money, and I'm not saying he didn't make it fairly in the rap game, but he has a lot of money. And he's going to sit here and continuously do stuff like this. And we're supposed to just wipe our hands, just be like, oh, well, what can you do? It's his hustle. It's like, no. This is happening on US soil. It's so much easier for Nintendo and other companies to go after this guy for what he's doing. So I do hope that some kind of legal trouble comes from this, because again, as I've said over and over and over again, this is a guy who has a lot of money, who could be investing in companies to do this 100% legit, and he's going out of his way continuously to bring these video game consoles, if you want to call them that, to US shores, and they're all illegal. And it's like, if I did that, right? If I did that, you know, on the corner of whatever and whatever, right near my house, I would get arrested immediately, because you can't do that. You can't just sell bootleg merch like this. So it's just really, that's why I'm continuously talking about it. You know, at first I didn't want to talk about it. Then it kind of became funny. Then it kind of became sad. Now I'm actually at a certain frustrated level, because it's just like, dude, just take a step back. Stop doing this and actually invest in companies where you could not only make a return on that investment, but you can actually be looked at as a serious businessman instead of doing this and looking like a complete and utter joke. So what I want to hear, though, is I want to hear what you guys think about all this. Do you think that Soulja Boy should stop? Do you think that it's hilarious? So why doesn't he just continue? And what do you think about the newest mini Soulja game? So, would love to hear all your thoughts about this down in the comment section down below. Alright, so, let's see what the next story is going to be. What are we going to talk about? What's coming up next? Yeah, backwards compatible PS5. So, where's that article? That article is right over... Hello? Where's the article? Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay, so, let me copy paste this into the chat. Boom. All right, so let's talk about this one. This one, ooh, this is going to be very interesting. So, all right, let's count down. 3, 2, 1. So, moving on to our next story, we are talking about the PlayStation 5 and what the PlayStation 5 might bring. So, apparently, there was a patent that recently hit. This is on the Japanese side of things. So, we do have to acknowledge that this is being translated from Japanese, so there could be a few issues here and there. However, according to a post from Japanese blog Hokanko Alt, and this was translated from Reddit via Reset Era, the PS4 architect Mark Cerny is the author of the patent, and it is a quote-unquote a system to be applied in a future machine, PS5, and that allows the CPU of the new console to be able to interpret the central unit of the previous machine. So what does that even mean, right? That means that it could potentially be backwards compatible with the PS1, 2, 3, and 4. Or what it could mean is it potentially could be their way of just maybe potentially having another way to access oh god, what was it? I don't remember what it's called, but it's that newer PlayStation service that allows you to play older PlayStation games through streaming. It could just be their way of doing that, or it could be following suit with the Xbox One with Microsoft, where they have ways of playing original Xbox games upscaled a little bit on the Xbox One. So, and I believe 360 games as well, not too sure, you guys can correct me down below, but still, I would say that if I'm able to play PS1, 2, 3, and 4 games. Yes, it wouldn't be able to be every game. That's, you know, every console. There's always some issue with backwards compatibility. Even the PS2, as much as everyone loves the PS2 and buys those over PS1s to play PS1 games, still there are some issues with compatibility, even with the PS2 and with the PS3, not only with the PS2, obviously, of course, they removed that in later PS3s, but also even with certain PS1 games as well. So there's always going to be some issue with compatibility. However, if I could play most of my backlog of games on a PS5, for me personally, that would immediately be a system seller. In fact, I don't care about VR. I don't care. I would care if it's built into the system. If VR is built into the system the same way that the Xbox One had their webcam built in, I forgot what it was called, but I did not like that. That's why I don't have an Xbox One. At least I didn't get one originally. So if the PS5 does have VR built in, and you have to use VR just to turn the damn thing on, I would be a little bit frustrated with that. Probably wouldn't want to get it for that reason, honestly. But if I could play PS1, 2, 3, and 4 games on a PS5, you can bet your ass that I would be very, very interested in picking one up within the first few years of its life cycle. I mean, if you guys know me, you usually know that the Nintendo Switch that I just got recently, I got that's like the newest console I've gotten in terms of in the beginning of something's life cycle for a very, very long time. Usually when I was a kid, of course, game consoles and handhelds, stuff like that were bought for me, and then when I got older, it took me a long time to get a PS4. I didn't get one, I think, until midway through the life cycle, I believe. And that, again, that was PS4. PS3 also took me a very long time to get. So when it comes to a new console, that's a lot of money to drop. We don't know how much a PS5 is going to be yet, but I assume it's not going to be under $500, sadly. So yeah, there's a lot of money that has to be dropped into a brand new console. So for me, if I'd be able to play those games that I have, you know, my backlog from when I was a kid from the PS1 and the PS2, and of course PS3 and 4 games as well, that would be very interesting for me. I would love if that was the case. I'm just a little bit nervous because I think it's just, I don't believe, okay, so either, and maybe it's a translation or it's just the fact that we're so early into, you know, talking about the specs for the PS5 and things like that, that I worry that it might just be about, it might be more so about specific games, again, just like the Xbox One, rather than being able to blanket just play any game. So it would focus more on Sony's first-party titles rather than other titles as well. I should go on, though, because the post, there is more to the post. And so let's read on here. The aim is to make the application designed for the previous consoles, parentheses, legacy device, close parentheses, run perfectly on the most powerful hardware, and is focused on eliminating the synchronization errors between the new consoles and the behavior of the previous ones, so the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4, the post reads. For example, if the CPU of the new console is faster than the previous one, data could be overwritten prematurely, even if they were still being used by another component. So again, should probably take down Soulja Boy's face. That's so funny. Soulja Boy is actually working on the PS5. So yeah, I do feel as if that this... I'm not saying that this isn't going to be, you know, good for us, the consumer, in the long run. However, I do think that there should be a little bit of healthy skepticism instead of just immediately jumping into saying that every single game is going to be playable on the PS5. I highly doubt it. I would hope that, you know, that some games that I have would be playable fairly easily. But again, we don't know just yet. I do want to hear what you guys think down below. Do you think that they'll focus on Sony games first? Do you think that Sony games might be, you know, first party games would be a bit easier for them to work out the kinks and be able to play versus other games? And do you think that that there might be upgrades of some way, you know, in some way or another? Or do you think it might be like the PS1 Classic and it's just, you know, copy-paste games right there? Who cares? So I want to hear what you guys think down below. Would love to hear what you guys have to say about this topic. So let's move on to the next topic. Let's see here. What's the next topic? Boop ba doop ba doop ba doop ba doop ba doop. Oh yeah, yeah, GameStop Kingdom Hearts. So before we talk about GameStop, actually no, let's talk about Piranha Plant and how terrifying that is. Let's see here. Where is Piranha Plant? This freaking plant. There he is. Look at him being terrifying. All right, now I need a drink of water because I need a drink of water. Like I said earlier, guys, trying to get over a cold and this is terrible. Okay, so let us begin in just a moment. Yeah, I posted the PS5 one. Let me actually post the Piranha Plant link in the chat. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Okay. There you go. Boom. All right, so let's see here. All right, so let's start in 3, 2, 1. So, moving on to our next story. This one's going to be a really short one, but it's still one that I want to talk to you guys about. Because I have a lot of friends who have Piranha Plant. I haven't been able to get them just yet. It was weird. I tried to get Piranha Plant, and I got it like... I tried to get my points redeemed literally a day or two before the cutoff. And Nintendo actually sent me an email after the cutoff. So I don't know if... So literally the email came in, I think, February 1st or 2nd. So I don't know if I can actually still get Piranha Plant or not. Because, again, the email came in after the cutoff, even though I applied for it before the cutoff. I'm wondering if so many people did that. Maybe Nintendo was just overwhelmed. Either way, though, let's talk about what Piranha Plant is doing and how you can remain safe. Because I have a lot of friends, like I said just a second ago, who have Piranha Plant who I had to send this news to. So there have been multiple reports of Piranha Plant corrupting save files of those who use him in All-Star mode. So do not use Piranha Plant in All-Star mode until Nintendo releases a patch. I don't know when this patch might potentially be coming out, but I assume one will be coming out in the near future, hopefully within the month or so. So again, be very wary of using Piranha Plant in All-Star mode, because if you do, it could corrupt your save data. I don't know why, I don't know how. You know, you have a lot of people behind the scenes trying to test things like this and try to make sure they don't happen, of course, but, you know, it's one of those things where, obviously, you know, obviously a company's going to sit there and be like, we don't want a glitch, right? And they're going to try and do as much as they can to see what makes this work at this point and da-da-da-da, but I don't know what caused this to happen. I assume maybe just, again, something that... I'm not saying that, you know, that beta testers don't have access to save data and things like that, but, you know, it's just stuff that it just comes off as really... It's something that's very hard to account for when all the variables, that's the word I'm looking for. I've been trying to stumble just to get the word variables in my head for a minute or so now. All these different variables where perhaps someone maybe used Piranha Plant in... in Smash, in the normal Smash mode, and then used him in World of Light, and for some reason that combined, causing some with the ability to get spirits with Piranha Plant, somehow caused there to be an issue when someone uses it in All-Star mode. So I don't know. I have no idea, because you would think this is something that they would catch, Nintendo would catch before releasing Piranha Plant, and I assume it is something that they caught and that they knew about. But maybe they thought they fixed it, but again, some other variable getting involved ended up reverting it to its original corrupt issues. I don't know. I'm not someone who creates the video games. I don't know, but what I do know is Piranha Plant is causing save data corruption. That's horrifying. Makes me wonder if I want Piranha Plant. But what I do know is don't use him in All-Star mode. So very short story, just a quick one. Just will make sure you guys know to stay safe out there with your Piranha Plant. Do not let him eat your your save data. Cute little guy, but he will corrupt your save data apparently if you use him in All-Star mode. So again, be wary of that. Be careful of that. I definitely will. And I don't know, again, it's making me rethink if I even want to get it in the off chance I make a mistake, or I bring over a family member who doesn't know and they use him in All-Star mode. I would probably disown that family member. But either way, guys, tell me what you think down below. If you think that Nintendo should have caught this. Again, I'm thinking that they did, but just other things got in the way. Or if you think that, hey man, this is a big deal. This is something that they shouldn't have even released the character. Yeah, it's a free character, and that's nice, but they should not have released this if this was going to happen. So again, I want to hear what you guys think down below. Would love to hear what you guys have to say about this, because this is not good. This is not good at all. All right, so let's move on to our next story. Before we do, however, I want to see what that story will even be. So what's the next story going to be? It will be, yeah, GameStop Kingdom Hearts PS4 Pro. Okay, so let me find the, let's actually find the article. Where is it? There it is. Nope, that's not the article. There's the article. Okay, so let me copy paste this. Boom. All right, so now the article is in the chat, and we will start this one in, oh no, before we do, let's actually remove a little Piranha Plant over there, and let's see, there we go, there's the picture we needed. Okay, so let's do this in 3, 2, 1. So, moving on to our next story. A lot of people are upset about this, and understandably so. At first, I was a bit more upset about this than I think I had any right being, and I'll say why in a second. So basically, with this story, essentially what's going down is this, right? So the PS4 Pro, specifically a Kingdom Hearts 3 PS4 Pro, was released. It was a limited edition, and it was released by GameStop. So you could only get this thing at GameStop, and they released it. People purchased it. Some people were happy with it. Some people, I mean, it hasn't even, at the time that this story had broke, I don't believe people even had it yet, so GameStop had yet to ship them out. What happened, though, was GameStop then releases a tweet that says, hey, and this is, by the way, if you guys are wondering where this article is, where this tweet is, you can check in the description box down below if you're watching this to where those guys play YouTube channel. And it says, due to an error, we oversold on pre-orders for the limited edition Kingdom Hearts 3 PlayStation 4 Pro, and unfortunately, some orders had to be canceled. Guests who had an order canceled will receive a $25 gift coupon. We apologize for the inconvenience and frustration this has caused. So here's the thing, right? So originally there was some people talking about this, and you had Woods from Woods Beat 'em Ups saying, hey, you got a free $25, how great is that? So originally when I heard about this, I thought, oh, this is terrible, this is the worst, yada yada. I did not know at the time that this was only being released through GameStop. So yes, of course, it is frustrating that if you want to buy this and you were screwed out of this, you now have to go to scalpers on eBay. That's truly messed up. However, it isn't as if this is available through Amazon or other retailers and you missed out on it because you ordered it through GameStop. And that is very relevant because GameStop did screw people over, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, there was no other way to pick this up. So while you were screwed over, hopefully you did not sell your PS4 to get this PS4 Pro. Hopefully you still had that waiting for this to come in, because if you did, then I truly feel like GameStop owes you a little bit more than $25. However, still though, if you weren't able to get it, also, it's not as if Kingdom Hearts 3, by the way, is sold out at all. The story so far seems to be, but it does not seem like Kingdom Hearts 3 is sold out anywhere, so you still can pick it up. I can still find it on Amazon and other places if I want to get it as well. So when you look at that, for me, I do think that a free $25 is pretty nice and is a good deal. Again, though, it is frustrating that people got screwed over by not being able to get this when, you know, they pre-ordered this. And GameStop, I mean, you would think that at this point, especially with GameStop, with the issues that they have as a company, that they would not oversell on pre-orders. You know, it's kind of reminiscent of like flights and things like that, when, you know, companies, you know, air travel companies overstock, or overbook, rather, that's the word I'm looking for, overbook, and then you get screwed over. And even if they try to comp you in some way or another, still, look, I know flights are a bit different than video game consoles, don't get me wrong, but still, you sit back and you're thinking, how could they overstock when they've been doing this, or oversell rather, when they could be doing this for years? They've been doing this for years, rather. You know, GameStop isn't new to the business here. So yeah, look, I know $25 is nice, but I do feel, and it is nice, but I would like $25 for a gift coupon. But still, it is something that I think people, you know, especially people who were first to the draw, there should have been a way to cut these off a lot sooner. And also, I do think that this is way too close to the release date. I mean, this is just a few days before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out in the US. I think that this should have been discussed a good month in advance, or at least a good week or so extra in advance, instead of just dumping this now and going, sorry guys, here's $25. Like, I know that, you know, I'm a lot less angry than I was originally, especially knowing what's actually going on here. And how limited edition this really was, and how this was specific to GameStop and exclusive to GameStop, but still doesn't make it right. And I think that, you know, GameStop should be doing a lot more for their customers rather than just giving them a $25 coupon. I don't know what they could do, to be fair. I really don't. But I feel like $25 is a bit too little. Sure, people weren't charged for this item. Obviously, the item was, you know, they're not getting the item. They weren't charged for it. All right, but $25, it seems like it's a bit too low. I don't know how much more they could give. Maybe $50, maybe $30, $35. I don't know, but it just, if I had ordered this and you know, I mean, I wouldn't have sold my PS4 to get this, but there are people who do that. There are people who, you know, we can't put aside the fact that there are people, especially, you know, younger fans, who are told, hey, listen, you know, you have to sell this console to get this new console. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So there are people out there, I'm sure, that had sold their, you know, their PS4s or even their PS4 Pros just to be able to get this, and are now told, nope, sorry, but here's $25. I do think that there should be some bigger just something else given, some other kind of recompense. No, so they should pay for what they've done. No, but they technically should pay, literally a little bit more out for doing something like this. It's really frustrating. It's a mistake, sure, but it's a mistake by a very large corporation that, you know, this isn't a mom and pop place. This isn't, you know, Castlemania Games made an error, you know, for something that I purchased from them. They're small enough that I'm like, hey guys, it's cool. Don't worry about it. You know, like, it sucks, but thank you so much for the $25, and I'd use it on one of their controllers or something like that. But GameStop, being such a large company, it's a bit bigger of a deal for me than this is. But what I do want to hear is, I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. Do you think this is a big deal? Do you think it's not a big deal? Do you think there's a lot worse that GameStop should be worrying about and we should be worrying about? Or do you think that, no, like, there are a lot of people who were waiting for this, who sold their PS4s for this perhaps, who are now sitting here without a PS4 and without Kingdom Hearts 3. So again, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this down below. Alright, so before we move on to our next story, I need a drink of water because I'm going to die. If I don't get a drink of water, I will die. Alright, so... Alright, so Our next story that we'll be moving on to in just a second is actually another GameStop story. Because GameStop is terrible. Apparently so terrible it can't even be bought out. Ayo! So let's copy paste right here. Alright, let me switch this out right here. Where's right? Oh, there it is. It's like, where is my GameStop logo? Okay, so we will talk about this in just a moment. I gotta fix my hair. You gotta fix my hair. Been on camera for how long? Gotta fix my own hair. Alright, so let's start this in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so moving on to our next story. It is still GameStop related. Sadly, GameStop, for some reason, it's not doing so hot. So we've talked before about how GameStop is trying to be marketable, trying to be, you know, put itself up for sale, you know, trying to get maybe some prospective buyers rather. But apparently GameStop might have just been playing hard to get all along. So let me actually post. I thought I posted this. Yeah, no, I did. Okay. For a second, I was like, did I post this in the chat down below? I did. And of course, if you're watching this to our YouTube channel, Those Guys Play, it will be in the description box down below this article. So apparently, out of nowhere, GameStop says, you know what? We don't want to be sold. And it's like, what? So I don't know. Just GameStop just sitting there like, I don't really want to be owned by anyone. It's like, all right, that's weird. So out of nowhere, literally GameStop has said, and this is a quote, so GameStop is no longer aiming to sell the company because of a quote-unquote lack of available financing on terms that would be commercially acceptable to a prospective acquirer. I don't know what that means. Again, was this like a stunt of some type for GameStop maybe to seem like, oh, you know, so many people want to buy us? Because we actually talked about on Matt Rants companies that came out of the woodwork potentially wanting to buy GameStop. So I do wonder if maybe GameStop is sitting back like, see, look at all these people who wanted to invest in us. Or if this is actually GameStop being like, nobody wanted to invest in us, and they're just like crying, just like in their room, like, why did nobody want to invest? So looking here at let's see, because I want to get some more quotes on this. GameStop confirmed on June 19th that it was in talks with third parties regarding a potential transaction, and then all of a sudden just nothing. And it's just really, and it's interesting because this is speculation from Wedbush Securities analyst Michael Pachter, and he told entertainment industry news website Variety that he believes GameStop may have found investors, but it may have been unable to find lenders to invest in the company. So in other words, it may have found companies that were willing to buy it out, but with that comes a lot of change. You might need some more investors to get in on this, and they couldn't find those investors. So they found a company willing to buy, but not other people willing to invest. And then Pachter said that lenders may see future video game streaming services as a threat to the prominence of physical sales that GameStop relies on. I've heard mixed things about Pachter, I think, so I don't know if his word is the word of the Lord, is gospel to look at here, but still, it is an interesting thought, though, because, yes, with, you know, newer gaming trends, with, despite me not liking, you know, digital only, it's not as if other people aren't going for digital only, especially trying to get games sooner rather than later, especially when you look at companies that, I mean, looking at something that happened to me recently, I tried to, even putting GameStop aside with some of their issues, I tried to purchase Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on Amazon. That thing took more than a week to get there, and I pre-ordered it. So I pre-ordered it. It was supposed to come out the day of to me, and it did not. So it took about a week to get to me, and that really frustrated me as someone who wanted to buy physical only and who loved physical only. And if I was more flippant on that issue and didn't really care, I would probably have just downloaded it via the Switch. I would have had it day one. So I'm not saying that digital never, right? I just prefer physical over digital. But looking at you know, companies and people wanting to invest and wanting that return on their investment, it does kind of make sense that you would have some people who are investing in, you know, in gaming. Just not that they're not investing in games anymore, they're just investing in a digital future rather than a physical future. And of course GameStop is you know, they have physical games more so than they do digital. I'm not saying that they don't sell any digital codes or things like that, but they definitely have a focus on physical rather than digital. So yeah, it looks like they're not being sold anymore. Again, I don't know if this is a stunt or not, if it makes them look more more valuable to investors or something like that, because of course there's this entire space of people that we're not in as consumers. So we look at this news and we're like, well, GameStop couldn't be sold, I guess they suck. But there are other people who are investors who go, oh wow, you found different companies that want to purchase you. Oh, that must mean that you're valuable, and it might actually increase their stock. And I don't mean actual stock as in stock market, I mean general stock. So you do wonder, you really do wonder if this was just a giant power play to the players, or if this was just them actually trying to sell and then getting screwed over. I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think down below, though. Do you think this was a power move? Do you think that it was a bad power move, if it even was? And what does this make you think about GameStop? Do you think that this makes you think that GameStop is in charge and in control, or that apparently GameStop can't even be bought out? So, again, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below. I don't know where I stand on this. This one is rather hard because, again, there's just an entire world that we don't know about, that to us this might seem silly, but to others they're like, oh wow, GameStop, so large and in charge, and they're important. So again, I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. So let's move on to our next story, which is mini Switch actually happening. And I need some more water. I will die if I do not get more water. I feel a cough coming on, but I can't cough on the podcast, and that hurts. That hurts a lot. I'm doing just fine, everybody. I'm doing just fine. Just got to restart the heart. Both of them. All right, I'll be doing just great. Okay, so yeah, mini Switch. All right. By the way, before we talk about the mini Switch, let us actually post this down into the chat. All right, copy paste. All right, and before we move on to that, let me actually switch out. Haha, switch out. Okay, great, there we go. So let's start this in 3, 2, 1. So moving on to our next story, we are consistently talking about the idea of a mini Switch or a Switch Pro, which would be a larger Switch with better specs and all this stuff. And I honestly don't know what's happening anymore. I actually don't. I really don't. I know that everything is rumor until it's not anymore, but it's getting to the point where it's like, all right, but like how like what level of rumor? Because it's getting to the point where it's like, well, this is a rumor, but like a non-believable rumor, but this is a rumor that can be believed. And apparently we're into the section of a rumor that can be believed. So Nikkei Services reported Nikkei Services. Wow, my brain is fried as of looking at when we're recording this. There was a report from Nikkei that is actually reinforcing a Wall Street Journal report about a Switch revision in 2019. And this Nikkei report outlines plans for a Switch Lite/Mini, which would actually kind of reinforce what the Wall Street Journal was talking about. And so apparently, while the Pro is the idea of a Pro with better specs and things like that is a bit more of a rumor, a Lite, if you will, actually has more backing. And of course you have fans coming out now saying, oh, this makes more sense because we have a mainline Pokemon game coming out in 2019. Also, we have Animal Crossing. Nintendo wants to sell more, obviously, you know, more consoles, as they always want to sell more consoles. Who doesn't? So what company's in there like, I don't want to sell more consoles? So of course Nintendo wants to sell more. So because they want to do that, you would think that a revision would help. And I think that this is me stepping in now and talking about a revision working and potentially not working. A Pro is such a harder sell. It's such a hard to sell because even though a Pro could have better specs, obviously would have better specs, even though that's the case, when you look at the average gamer and the average consumer, people would feel as if they have been screwed. Even someone like me who's a streamer, even if there was built-in Twitch support in a Pro, I would feel like I have been screwed if I just paid $300 for a Switch and now a revision has come in. However, if you make a handheld Switch, which again we've talked about before, it would just be a Switch without a dock, and it would just be the Joy-Cons potentially would even be fused into the Switch itself. If you created one of those, I wouldn't care about one of those. And people out there who've already bought a Switch, maybe they don't care, but maybe they want to buy a Switch for the kid. You know, the kid's been hogging up their Switch, or the family Switch or whatever. And now what you can do is you can buy a cheaper, assuming that the Switch Lite would be much cheaper than the $300 Switch. You could buy a $200 Switch, let's say, or a $150 Switch, and get that for the kid. And now you feel as if you have access to another product. You want to try to trick someone into thinking that they have access to another product, not that they're getting screwed out of something they've just paid for with a brand new, better version. So a Switch Lite, to me, or you know, a mini Switch, whatever you want to call it, it would be much better of a sell, especially in 2019, because it is so much easier to convince someone that they could actually, you know, that they need this product if it's lesser than rather than better than. Because again, you know, a Switch Pro being 350, even if it was 350 to 400, still, you still sit there and you're like, but I just paid 300 for my Switch. Now all of a sudden there's a Switch Pro, and maybe there's some games that can't even be played on an original Switch and are now being played on a Switch Pro. That would be extremely frustrating, where with a Switch Lite, saying, oh, hey, if you buy this, you can only play maybe first-party Nintendo titles, for a kid that wants to just play that on the go, and, you know, and they feel as if, and the parents feel as if they're like, look, just give this to the kid, it's cheap, just let him play with it. I think that that's an easier sell for me, just putting that out there. I think that that would be an easier sell than a full-on Switch Pro. So I do think that this one, that there's a bit more credence to this than a Switch Pro as of right now, especially coming out in 2019, especially being, like some fans have been saying, coupling it with you know, Pokemon and things like that, and new games coming out. I think it would work. I think it would not only work really well, but I think that Nintendo would sell a lot more Switches that way as well, and hopefully it would be, you know, it would be much cheaper than the original Switch, and hopefully it would be durable, because that's also a problem as well that I've noticed with certain, you know, thinking of like a 2DS or something like that. You know, I would worry about it being not as durable, this mini Switch, if, you know, kids are throwing it around, stuff like that. But again, it's not really up to us to care about. It's really, you know, the consumer. And if you're a consumer, then yeah, and trying to get this for your kid, of course you would care about this. But yeah, for me, I think that it would be interesting if Nikkei is correct. Again, you know, this is one of those things where it's still a rumor. You know, it's one of those weird things where it's like it's a rumor, but it's a rumor that has, you know, a lot more clout now. Clout? I don't know if that's the right word. Dang, the kids using the slang terms. But this is a rumor that has a lot more backing to it, I think, now that Nikkei is behind it and talking about you know, specs and things like that. And I guess Wall Street Journal, I'm not going to say that they didn't matter necessarily, but it was still speculation at that point. Now there's a little bit more backing to it. So very interesting stuff. I want to hear what you guys think down below, though. Would you actually buy a Nintendo Switch Lite, or do you just not care either way? You're like, look, I have my Switch. That's all I care about. Or would you wait out for the Pro? Because I have a few friends that are sitting around like, no, I'm just going to wait for the Pro. They don't even have Switches. They want a Switch, but they're like, I'd rather wait for the Pro. So I want to hear what you guys think down below. Are you pro Switch Pro? Are you pro Switch Lite? Or do you just not care either way? So would love to hear what you guys have to say down below. So before we move on to our next story, I'm going to take the last sip of water that I can. And I'm also going to get something to eat after this. I'm starving. It's way too late to eat, but I'm starving, guys. Alright, so alright, I was supposed to add a story on about Nintendo investors being dumb because they dropped off after Nintendo didn't sell as many Switches as they would like. I think we'll just add that to next episode's docket. Whoops. I forgot. Oh, well. Anyway, so let me, alright, so let's see here. Where is the, doing things live, everybody. Yeah, okay, Saturn. Alright, so let's move on. Oh, before we move on to the next story, let me copy and paste it down below. And okay, there we go. Let's see, here you go. There's two links. There's one Twitter link, and then there is another Twitter link. Okay. Oh, God. All right, we're almost done. All right, so now we're going to move on to the last story in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so moving on to our last story of the episode. Apparently, a dev Saturn was found at a hard off, which is like, what the hell's a hard off? So that's actually a Japanese used electric stores, a chain of stores. So a dev Saturn was found, and I posted this link in the chat. This is friggin' amazing. So first of all, it's beige, which is weird. Never really seen a beige Saturn. I will admit, not that huge into the Saturn. I don't hate it. I never really got into it as a kid. So I got one at a garage sale. Ooh, wow, maybe like 5, 8 years ago now. And I don't have that many games for it. So I will fully acknowledge that I'm sure there's some beige Saturns out there. But just for me, as someone who has a black Saturn in my collection, this one really does stick out. And what's crazy is when looking at some of these pictures, you can actually see not only is there, a Japanese here, and there's a bunch of different settings. It says like Sega Reserved, NTSC, a lot of different switches and things like that. But what I think is really cool is that there is a Saturn CD switch. And apparently, oh God, no. I am recovering from a cold. And I was wondering when the cough was going to fight back. Okay. God, I'm gonna die here. Anyway, I love you all so much for tuning in, but I'm gonna die here live on air on Twitch. The things I do for love. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. So talking about the CD switch for a second, what's crazy is looking at the VCD portion of it. It's very interesting because if you guys don't know, VCDs, video CDs, they're an older format, one that is not used anymore, to the point where if you have a legit VCD, it won't even work in your PS4 or anything like that. You can still put it in your PC, in your older DVD players. But the crazy thing about VCDs are they were used mostly in Hong Kong and in other Asian territories, but a lot of fan subbers used them back in the day. And it's so interesting to look at how there was a VCD option here, potentially one, because I think the VCD port was available in Hong Kong Saturns, but not in both US and Japanese Saturns. But it's still crazy to see what, can be used and how you can switch over from the CD, i.e. I assume CD is just normal Saturn games, and the VCD function as well. And there's a little reset button right there. Very crazy stuff. And the fact that this was only 500 yen. So someone was able to pick this up for 500 yen at one of these hard offs. How crazy is that, right? And 500 yen. I mean, for me, as for someone who who goes to different goes to different come on, brain. My brain is just fried right now. Who goes to different thrift stores and things like that, to find this for 500 yen, which is super cheap. That's like under $5 in the US if you're using currency conversion. The fact that this was found for that much is insane. Also, when looking at the Japanese tweet, when trying to use Google Translate, which I know isn't that reliable, it says, discovers Sega Saturn, parentheses part of, for development with hard off. After searching, it seems to be a thing called Dev Saturn. It seems to be connected to another developmental device. Even in this state, the game can be played normally. Okay, so you can play games normally. And it may correspond to all the regions with the dial switch. I do not have overseas software. Okay, so what this person is trying to say is they don't have overseas discs and things like that to test it out. However, it seems that it is compatible with overseas stuff, and it does play Japanese games normally. Man, though, this is so cool. And then scrolling through the different comments, you can see some more pictures of this. And there apparently, yeah, there's 2 controller ports, obviously. Looking at the back, the plug is built right into the AC. It is built, seemingly built right into the system itself with a weird tubing. It's not super weird, but it's just weird looking at, you know, actual systems, like the way the tube is built. Looks like the inside of the CD drive is normal, nothing crazy to report there. And yeah, no, it's just, it is crazy to see how stuff like this is still being found in 2019. Like, we have to think about the fact that we are in 2019. The Saturn has been dead for a very long time, and we are still able to find stuff like this. And it was able to be found for, again, 500 yen. So I wonder who dumped this, how it got too hard off, and how this person was able to find it. Amazing stuff. Really cool stuff like this is still able to be found nowadays. And yeah, so just we're going to wrap this up, but I just want to say, I want to thank you all so much for listening in, for watching as always. Remember that if you're watching this through our Twitch, we do these live on Mondays. Usually post about them on our social media beforehand. Also, you can find these cut up as clips over at our Those Guys Play YouTube channel, and you can find the audio versions of these over at our Patreon, patreon.com/GGProductions, and you can find t-shirts like the lovely one that I'm wearing over at our TeePublic account. All of that is available through our social media accounts, like our Twitter at Those Guys Radio, our Facebook, facebook.com/Those Guys on the Radio, and our main website, teacherproduction.net. So, love you all, take care, and tune in next time. And I think we'll be bringing the green screen back next time, but I want to see how the lighting would look without it, because we just got a new webcam, and it looks beautiful, but I kind of want my green screen back. So, we'll see what happens next time. Love you all, take care, and again, tune in next time for another episode of Matt Rants. Alright guys, so see ya, and let's turn this baby off here. Let's stop the stream.